This is Advanced Math Notes 1.1b. 1.1b, you're going to title it Factoring Review Day 2. And we're going to write up here, factor completely. Okay, factor completely. Number 1, 25x squared minus parentheses x squared plus 4y squared close parentheses quantity squared. Typical test question. You want to make sure you train your brain on how to recognize that this is a difference of two squares. Y, there's two terms. They're chunky, but they're two terms. Minus sign, that's the difference. Perfect square, 25x squared is a perfect squared, and this in parentheses is a perfect squared because it's being raised to the second power. So what we're going to do is use substitution. We let u equal, or w, just don't use x or y in this problem because it already has x and y in the problem. Okay, so let u equal x squared plus 4y squared. Now if these two here were not squared, it wouldn't matter, as long as the squared's out there. Okay. So we're going to rewrite it, 25x squared minus u squared. And I'm hoping you can look at this now and say, oh yeah, that is a difference of two squares. I see it now. Okay, 5x times 5x is 5x squared minus u, or plus u, and then minus u. 5x plus u and 5x minus u, and that should be an x. I don't know if I said it wrong, but 5x and 5x, because 5x times 5x is 25x squared. Okay. Now, if you were to box this in, you'd get it wrong because you have to plug this back in for the u, where the u used to be. 5x minus blank, 5x, and I'm going to put that back to plus, and then 5x minus blank. 5x plus blank, 5x minus blank, and now we're going to plug the u back in, and u was x squared plus 4y squared, and then x squared plus 4y squared. Now you'd get it wrong if you'd left it like this as well, because you cannot leave nested parentheses. So distribute and then drop. 5x, there's nothing to distribute, so plus x squared plus 4y squared. 5x, distribute the negative, and you get minus x squared minus 4y squared. A lot of kids sometimes will forget, they won't put parentheses, they'll just say, oh, plus x squared plus 4y squared and minus x squared plus 4y squared. And they neglect to distribute that negative, and they end up with an incorrect answer. So you want to be careful and make sure you do all your steps correctly. Okay, number 2. X squared minus 6x plus 9 minus 121y squared. Okay, last year you learned factor by grouping. 4 terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 terms means factor by grouping. Now I'm pretty sure last year you only did a 2 by 2. A 2 by 2 meant like you did the GCF of the first 2 terms, your GCF of the next 2 terms, and factored. This year we're also going to do a 1-3 or 3-1, meaning you use the last 3 terms to factor or the first 3 terms to factor. Now when you're looking for these, it will take a while to get used to them. We will get practice. Cover, for example, cover here. Does that look like a trinomial factoring? It does not. And if it is going to be one of these here, whatever your 3 terms you use should be a perfect square trinomial. That's definitely not a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to cover that term. Does that look like a perfect square trinomial? And I'm hoping you recognize that it does. So I'm going to underline this piece here. So it is a 3-1 that we are working with. this here is a 3-1 factor by grouping. And we will get more practice with this. Okay, so you double bubble, minus 121y squared just stays there. X times x is x squared. The last sign is positive, so the two signs are the same. The neighbor tells you they are both minus. What times what is 9? Positive 9, that adds up to the negative 6. Minus 3 minus 3. And you can do your inside outside. That's negative 3x gives you the negative 6x. So we write it like this, and this is why you want it to be a perfect square trinomial, so that it can be difference of two squares. Can you see that? This is quantity squared, and 121y squared is a perfect squared, so it is indeed a difference of two squares. Okay, let's let u equal x minus 3. So I have u for x minus 3, so this whole thing now is squared, u squared minus 121y squared. And then you can see it's difference of two squares. U times u is u plus 121y squared. The square root of that is 11y. And then u minus 11y. U plus 11y, u minus 11y. Okay, now if we stopped here, we'd get it wrong because we have to plug the u back in. Plus 11y minus 11y. That's not changing. It's the u that's changing. So I'm going to put parentheses here where the u used to be. And what am I putting? I'm putting this back into the u spot, so into these two here. And that is u is x minus 3 and x minus 3. Kids will say, oh, x minus 3, x plus 3. No, it's u is u all the way around. U is x minus 3, u is x minus 3. Okay, distribute. There's nothing to distribute on either one of these, so it's just x minus 3 plus 11y and x minus 3 minus 11y. And then at this point, you'd combine like terms and factor if you can, but there's no like terms. There's nothing to factor. This here is your final answer. Now, on this one, if you forgot to put parentheses here, you'd be okay. No problem. But on this one, if you forgot the parentheses, you would have a problem because you distribute that negative and you wouldn't have that if you forgot your parentheses. So just be careful. Okay, number 3. Another typical test question, 2 parentheses x plus 5 squared plus 3 parentheses x plus 5 parentheses 2x minus 1 plus parentheses 2x minus 1 quantity squared. Definite test question, not most likely, definite. Okay, what I'd like you to recognize, first off, it's a trinomial. First term, second term, third term. First, second, third. And not only is it a trinomial, but it's one that we can factor. It may look a little scary, but we can factor. Okay, so I am going to recognize that I have a 2x plus 5 here, and I'm sorry, not a 2x, an x plus 5 there, and an x plus 5 there. I also have a 2x minus 1 here and a 2x minus 1 there. So I am going to use substitution again. I'm going to let u equal, because I don't want to use x, equals x plus 5, and I'm going to let, we'll use z equal 2x minus 1. We're using 2 letters here because there's 2 chunks that are the same, x plus 5 and the 2x minus 1. Okay, so 2x plus 5 is u, so 2u and it's squared, plus 3, x plus 5 and 2x minus 1, there's no squared there, so it's just uz, plus 2x minus 1, which is z, quantity squared. So z squared. Now I'm hoping most of you can look at this and figure out, oh, that is indeed a trinomial factoring. Double bubble, 2u times 1u gives me the 2u squared. 2u times 1u is 2u squared. Z times z is the z squared. This tells me my two signs are the same. The neighbor tells me they are both positive, and we can check. uz, that's 1uz. This is 2uz. Add those up, you get 3uz, which is indeed what we're trying to get. We're happy. Now we don't box that in because we have to plug the u and z back in. It's going to get a little messy. Okay, let's see if we can do this here. My big brackets, 2 blank plus blank, and then, oh, not a u, a blank plus a blank. Okay, so I've taken out all the u's and the z's and put in parentheses. Okay, so here's the u and here's the u, and in the u spot I'm going to put x plus 5. X plus 5 next to the 2, and x plus 5 as the first term. Now the z's I'm going to change back to the 2x minus 1. So that's here, 2x minus 1 and 2x minus 1. Distribute, combine like terms, and see if you can factor. There's distribution there. So that gives us 2x plus 10 plus, go ahead and write that next one down. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's finish off this problem. So we have 2x plus 10, and then this piece here is 2x minus 1. This is 2x plus 10 because you distributed the 2 into the parentheses. 2x and 2x is 4x. 10 and negative 1 is plus 9. All right, next one. X plus 5. There's nothing to distribute, so it stays. Plus nothing to distribute, so it's 2x minus 1. And let's combine like terms. That gives me 3x. And then positive 5 and negative 1 is plus 4. And then I said earlier, see if you can factor. There's nothing we can factor at this point. 4x plus 9, there's no GCF. 3x plus 4, there's no GCF. You will have some, and we will see some before then, but you will have them on the test where after this, whatever's left here, you can still factor. So there'll be more steps. For now, this is it. This is it for this lesson. Make sure you make any notes of questions you may have to get cleared up in class.